everybody. Welcome to a new episode, another new episode of the Chris and Amanda Show. I am one of your hosts, Chris Vaglio, and I am joined by my always awesome and amazing friend and always very sunny, Amanda Sharp.
Happy Chris and Amanda Day, Chris.
Happy Chris and Amanda Day, Amanda Sharp, and welcome each and every one of you who are watching us live right now on whatever platform of your choosing that is.
Because we're everywhere.
Yes, because we're everywhere. We should make a song about that. Everywhere, the Chris and Amanda Show. But yes, welcome all the returning listeners and watchers, and welcome to anyone new out there. We appreciate each and every one of you. If this is your first time joining us, though, however, I'm going to throw it over to my awesome co-host, Amanda Sharp, and she's going to explain to you how the show normally works.
Well, if you are new here, welcome. And if you are a frequent listener, thank you for returning, despite our craziness that we do each and every single week. But for those new here, how our show works is Chris and I come from very different musical backgrounds. He likes his heavy metal, and he's very current with his music. Amanda seems to have not left 1980s with her country and her love for like Debbie Gibson. So we each choose 3 songs, hoping that neither one of us have heard them before, and then we rate them on a very complicated scale of 1 to 5 records. 1 being it shouldn't have ever been sung or created. 5 being it's amazing. It's going on our playlist, and we will listen to it forever and ever and ever.
That's right. It becomes part of the pantheon of loved songs.
Absolutely.
Forever and ever. And if you'd love to support the show, we would love for you to do that. So every little bit helps. So one of the ways that you can help support the Chris and Amanda Show is to follow, to subscribe, to share the show wherever you watch or listen to the show, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, or you're listening to it wherever you get podcasts. That is one big way that you can help share and help us grow the show. Another way that you can help is to support us directly by heading over to buymeacoffee.com. If you're a regular listener of the show, thank you. And this is a great way to support the show. And for many of you who have done that already, we appreciate each and every one. If you're new to the show, then yes, please, we implore you to please head over to buymeacoffee.com/TCAS. You can use the link in the show description or the show notes to get direct access. And from there, there are various levels of support and memberships you can join, as well as the very cool and very sought after, I think sought after, you can commission a show. So we just recently had a fully commissioned episode of the Chris and Amanda Show. And if you would like to commission a full episode, you get to pick up to 6 songs of your liking, whatever you want. And Amanda and I will review, relate, react, and relate, review, whatever, react, the whole thing. We will do that to your songs of your choosing. So you can do all that through our Buy Me a Coffee link. And if you'd like to become a sponsor of the show, because, you know, that's what this show is all about sometimes. You know, we like to support our friends. We like to support other businesses and brands out there. So we'd love to share the love with you. So you can head over, you can drop us an email at the Chris and Amanda Show at gmail.com if you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the show. Now, Amanda, with all that stuff out of the way, what are we doing today? What is happening on today's show?
So, you guys, this is something that's going to be so fun for us, at least.
we commissioned our own episode of the show.
See, yes, if you want to take control, go over to Buy Me a Coffee and commission a show.
That's right.
But until that happens again today, Chris and I are doing our top 3 TV theme songs, which I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, me too. And we were just talking about this before we went on, like how hard this was. And every time we try to do these list episodes for ourselves, we're like, oh, this is going to be so easy. And then you start making the list, and then the list gets longer, and then it gets longer. And then you start having this like weird criteria of like, well, how do I take them off the list? How do I just narrow it down to 3? And then finally, I'm just like, I am just going to pick 3 just because to me, they're all good. and they're all memorable and they all have stories behind them. But
Yep.
that's ultimately what I did. I'm just picking 3. Like, these are the ones that come to my head when I look at the list. I'm picking these.
Absolutely. And if it's anything like our movie show that we had to do a couple because
Oh
it's
my gosh,
really,
yeah.
really hard. Or the Beatles episode that we
Oh,
struggled with as well.
that was so hard.
So I expect another episode of TV theme songs because we just have so many choices to pick from.
We do.
We would love to hear what your favorite theme songs are. So put in the comments and we'll pop them up on the screen. And I can't wait to see if any of your songs are on my list or my list is on your list, or if any of our choices that people said are on each other's lists.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And we got a few viewer listener responses already to some of this that we put out on social. So we've got a few on there. And I was looking at it, I'm like, only one there's one on here that's on my list. So that'll be fun. So I'll be
Oh, I
interested to
might
see
know
if
what
any of
one it
these are on
is.
your
I
list.
might
Yeah.
know what one it is.
Um,
Before we dive into
yeah.
the show, we can't not say thank you to James Scott, who is
Yes.
just one of our honestly, like one of our number one cheerleaders for our show. Thank you so much for doing the Happy Chris and Amanda
Yes.
message this morning. Of all the words I screwed up in that sentence, it was my name. Chris, what's wrong with me?
This is what happens. We're like shot out of a cannon on Monday. So it's like,
I
blah,
know.
blah, blah, blah.
But James is from Across the Pond Sports Network. He has every podcast about every sport possible out there. They're amazing. And he's just a very good friend. So thank you, James Scott.
Yes, we really appreciate you, James, and for all your support, as Amanda said. And definitely, if you are into sports and you love listening to sports talk radio, what I love about James's show is that he brings his unique perspective to it, being a current resident of Scotland. But it's not just his point of view; it's point of views with all different people from different sports. So if you like NBA, if you like the NHL, if you like NFL, MLB, WNBA. James has got it all over there at the Across the Pond Sports Network. So you can get that wherever you listen to podcasts. And also, I think he has a YouTube channel too. So
he has everything.
Yeah, he's got
and
everything.
I let you mention all of the leagues because I don't know what they are.
I think there's an MLS league too. There's soccer. I mean, it's James has built an empire. So go support him. Go check him out. We love him. Thank you, James.
Awesome guy. Thank you, James. And without further ado, let's get this party started.
I need like another one. I need like a couple different sound effects. I only have the 3 right now. I got to get more.
we'll hype ourselves up even more.
There you go. All right, so let's get into it. So, Amanda,
yes,
who wants to go? Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
I'll go first.
So we're gonna go with our top. We're gonna work from the bottom up.
I was gonna suggest that. So we're gonna end with our number 1.
End with our number 1.
Okay.
So, all right.
Okay. So my third favorite TV theme song is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, yes. You know what? I had a feeling this was going to be on your list, especially since we'd had that song. You know, we've had the Fresh Prince. Well, not that song, but we've had the Fresh Prince on the show before. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Nightmare on My Street.
Yeah.
They've definitely been on our show a couple times.
Yes, absolutely. That's great. That's a great pick. Why is that in your top 3?
You know, I just grew up like really watching every single episode. And there's something about that beginning that is just so great. And then the story of how the mom like sends him off because she's like, ain't gonna happen on my watch. He ain't gonna fall victim to the streets. And he goes to Uncle Phil, you know, and all the things. And all I can think of now as a parent going, she sent her baby away. So I couldn't do that part, but I understand wanting like the best life for your child. And it just was a very, very fun show. Like in the Carlton, like.
Oh yeah, the Carlton, of course.
The Carlton and Jeffrey, the butler guy, it just has all the elements for a really great show. And the song does not disappoint.
Nope, song definitely does not disappoint. So that is a classic song. That's a really good pick. I really like that. See, and that was on my giant list. But it didn't quite make my top 3. But that's a really good pick. Man, I gotta go listen to that open. And so I know too, and I don't know if you watch it, but they have a new version of on NBC, and I'm not quite sure. I haven't watched it, so I can't speak to it from having seen the show. but I'm not quite sure I'm down with the tone of that show, just because having watched the original and
Mhm.
I respect what they're trying to do, but once again, I haven't watched it yet, so I can't give a full critique on it. I've only seen the trailer, but I wasn't excited.
I was not either, and no disrespect to anyone who likes it, but
Right.
I watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the original one, to leave reality and just have fun watching a show, and it was you laughed a lot.
Yeah.
I think the new one sounds a little too serious for Amanda,
Hmm.
but it might be good.
It might be good. I mean, I like I said, I've only seen the trailer,
Mhm.
so but it wasn't enough. I wasn't excited. I didn't be like,
Agreed.
wow, I have to watch this. So maybe, maybe down the road. Maybe I
It
need to see
doesn't have
more
the
reviews.
'80s colors in it, and maybe that's why, like the '80s,
Yeah,
'90s, like, bling.
definitely that show is definitely synonymous with the
It
with the
was
time
so
for sure.
good.
It
So
is
that's
so
my
good.
number
All
3.
right, that is your number 3. Okay,
What
great.
about
Well,
you?
I will give you my number 3. And so once again, for anybody watching and or listening, if you'd like to chat with us and send us your picks for what would be your favorite TV theme songs, just pop them in the chat and we'll bring them up. We'll talk about them. We'll share them. So my number 3 song, TV theme song
Like, I can't even stand the excitement. It's so stupid.
is I don't think this is going to be in your top 3. I don't think this is on your list.
Okay.
But it's the theme song from the show MASH, and
Ooh,
the song's called "Suicide Is Painless." That's the official name of the
that's the
song. So I
official
didn't know
name of
if
the
you know
song?
anything about the history of the song, Amanda.
I didn't. I just
Okay,
watched
so
it growing up.
well, lucky for you, I'm going to give you some history about this song
They're away.
because, as usual, I have notes on everything. So, and it's written by Johnny Mandel and Mike Altman. And so I know a lot of the story about this song, but I thought it would be better if I just found like a kind of an article on it. So I went to the interwebs and I found an article published by Rare online, rare.us from 2017. And it talks
Okay.
about the history of the song. Uh, so if anybody knows the song, if you've watched the movie MASH, originally directed by Robert Altman, or obviously the TV show, I grew up watching MASH. This was one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It's an awesome show. I know it, maybe, and I still actually, being my age, I watch and I go, wow, these themes are so still relevant to today.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful show. So if you've never watched it, if it may, I don't know, it may not connect with some people today, but it is really well done. But anyway, so this is from the article in Rare. The show's theme, MASH, is a song called "Suicide Is Painless," which, as I just said, the song is used for both the television show and the MASH film. It was co-written by Johnny Mandel and Mike Altman. Perhaps the most interesting part of this song is the lyrics who penned them, the lyricist who penned them. Michael Altman, who is the son of Robert Altman, the director, wrote the lyrics. He was 14 years old. So when he wrote it, so he was 14 years old when
Well
he wrote.
done.
Robert Altman's son, Mike Altman, wrote the song. And so here's a sample of some of the lyrics, because if you haven't watched the movie, in the movie they do sing the lyrics in the
We're
song in the
right.
film, but in the show it's just the instrumental. But here's some of the lyrics: "The game of life is hard to play. I'm gonna lose it anyway. The losing card I'll someday lay. So this is all I have to say. Suicide is painless. It brings on many changes, and I can take it or leave it, please." And I can take it. Oh yeah, if I please. So it was originally written for the scene in the picture where, if anybody's seen the film, actor Ken Primus, who played character Private Sedman, was meant to sing the song during the fake suicide of John Shuck's character, Walter Painless Paul Wadowski, during the Last Supper scene, which is a very funny classic scene. The mandate about the song given from his father, the director, was that it had to be the stupidest song ever written, and he wanted it to be called "Suicide Is Painless." So that's what Robert Altman said. He goes, "I want this to be called "Suicide Is Painless," and I want it to be the stupidest song ever written." So the ideology is pretty much why the task got passed along to the director's 14-year-old son. He wrote the lyrics in 5 minutes and went about his life. That 5 minutes, Amanda Sharp, here comes the real kicker for you. That 5 minutes turned into a fat $1 million paycheck later on, after the song was made into the TV series theme. It's been covered multiple times and is released instrumental versions. "Suicide Is Painless" even hit #1 on the UK singles chart which with this refreshed knowledge, feel free to watch the opening credits and think about how a 14-year-old's take on suicide. So this, and I've even seen interviews with Robert Altman where he has said that his son made more money off of that than he got paid to make MASH.
So, as I'm digesting, as we've said numerous times on this show, we just want a little sliver of that $1 million.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Please.
about that, and it's just so crazy about how that song, and and I can the opening, do 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 do, dun, 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 so it's so iconic, and then to know that it was written basically by it was written by Robert Altman's son, 14 years old, gets paid $1 million, the song becomes a giant hit, goes on to the TV show. He literally has made more money than Robert Altman has made when he actually created MASH. Amazing.
Parents' love or expectation, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we just have to keep on pretending that we're jingle writers, and one day, Chris, it'll happen for us.
But
very neat history behind that.
Yeah,
song.
I thought it'd be fun to share, and I really like that. I mean, it's so I mean, all you have to hear is dun, 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 dun. I'm like MASH, like you just and I know the episodes, I can see it, I can see the whole opening.
The whole opening.
Completely iconic, one of my favorite TV theme songs.
Good
TV show theme
choice.
songs. Yes.
Good choice.
So MASH, Suicide is Painless is my number 3.
I like it. Okay, moving on to my number 2.
All right, your number 2.
And this one, I had forgot about this one that I finally chose, but I originally had on this list Growing Pains theme song because I love Growing Pains theme songs.
That's a great one.
I can belt it, but
okay.
Back to Growing Pains, I did have to push it aside because a sweet song popped into my head and I said, oh, this has to be my number 2. And that is the Scooby-Doo Theme song.
Dun, 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 dun.
I probably have spent no less than 1,000 hours watching Scooby-Doo movies in the series with Owen as a little child.
So good.
It is. And so I have so many fun memories to that song, and it's just super sweet. So Growing Pains has like my I love the story behind Growing Pains and belting that song, but Scooby-Doo at the end of the day, I just couldn't take it out of my heart. Had to be my second place.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Oh my God.
So who's your favorite Scooby-Doo character, Chris?
Oh man. I love Scooby. I mean, he's just so great.
Classic.
Shaggy's hilarious. You know what? I think I don't know. I think I like Scooby the most just because it's just, I mean, it's his show, right?
It's his show.
It's his show. Shaggy is hilarious because I can't even believe what they got away with Shaggy. Like now you watch it as an adult and you're like, basically that guy is just high all the time.
All the time. And
him and Scoob always eating.
I probably didn't pick up on that until I was 35.
It took you a little bit there.
A little longer to figure it out. I think incidentally that's when pot became legal in Michigan.
Yeah.
So.
See, and I will tell you, I always felt bad for Thelma because I felt like she never got the credit she deserved because half the time she was, I mean, actually more than half the time she was solving the actual mystery.
Absolutely.
She was the one that was always focused on solving the case. Right? Yeah. And it's it. And I felt like she never got all the credit she deserved.
Agreed. I saw a meme. It might have been this morning, honestly, and it said Scooby-Doo prepared children that more adults they know are evil than people they don't know.
That's amazing.
That's accurate.
That is accurate, though. I like that.
You're going to get hurt more by people you know than probably that you don't know. So
I actually, you grow up learning that maybe every adult has a mask on. And so that's not really who you think it is. Let's see who it really, it's like, which is kind of a metaphorical. So
it's so good. And my goodness, can you imagine the amount of dollars that enter that? What do I want to call it? That huge pool of Scooby-Doo. All of the Scooby-Doo, the songs, the wear,
Oh,
the
the whole, like, the
movies.
universe, the Scooby-verse.
Yes, I can't even imagine the total dollars that's brought in since it was
Oh,
established way back
it's
when.
yeah, it's amazing what that created, and it's so good, and I used to always love the thing I loved about Scooby-Doo was the guest stars, and always the
Mhm.
Globetrotter episodes were my favorite.
Fun.
When the Harlem Globetrotters were on, those were always, like, some of my favorite Scooby-Doo episodes, always good. So that was on my list. It didn't make my top 3, I'll tell you
Okay.
in full disclosure, but it was on my long list of, like, great songs.
I like that. I
Like,
like that.
really, because it brings me right back to my childhood for sure. Like, I watched lots of Scooby-Doo.
And I didn't really watch a whole lot as a kid,
Mhm.
but Owen just was a sucker for it. He loved
Yeah.
it so much. We probably owned every single Scooby-Doo movie that
Mm.
existed up until he turned 10. Just
And
like,
now you just watch them.
no, yeah. Because I'm like, where's my baby?
I watch Scooby-Doo.
Let's watch a Scooby-Doo together. So number 2, how about you?
Alright, so my number 2, probably not on your list either. So once again, Amanda, like, my criteria for these were, like, and this was once again, it was really hard. Like, this was
So
hot
hard.
really, really hard. I was trying to figure out, like, what shows really have made an impact on me, have influenced me over time, and really kind of made me a little obsessed
Ooh,
over them. And
yeah.
this is one of the shows I was obsessed over, and I'm still obsessed over. And that is the show Twin Peaks. I am a giant Twin Peaks fan. I
I was not expecting that.
love Twin Peaks. I've even got somewhere back here. Oh, it's up
Chris,
there.
that's so
I've got my
great.
whole, like, actually, I'm just gonna get it and show
Go
it.
get it, Chris. I would never have guessed.
Ugh. I've got my little Twin
Oh
Peaks
my
set
gosh.
here with
Why are you so cool?
Laura Palmer wrapped in plastic, Bob, the log lady, and of course, you know, Agent Cooper, Agent Dale Cooper, and I've even got my little Dale Cooper
Oh my gosh.
Funko Pop and my Audrey Funko Pop. I am a giant Twin Peaks fan. I used to collect the zine called Wrapped in Plastic. It was all about Twin Peaks. I've got the box sets. I've got Fire Walk with Me. I used to have I
That's
lost
so
it, but I used
cool.
to have Laura Palmer's Secret Diary. I've got the history of Twin Peaks books. I'm a Twin Peaks junkie. So this was, to me, I had to put this theme song. That opening song to Twin Peaks is so iconic and so classic, and it literally is like 3 notes that do 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 do, and it's just so great. So it was written by Angelo Baldamenti, who, in if anybody's into anything David Lynch does, Baldamenti, David Lynch have had quite a collaboration over the years with all the films he's done, and Angelo Baldamenti providing the soundtrack score for those, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, of course, Twin Peaks, and it just his filmmaking and Angelo Baldamenti's musical styling just work so well together. And I just absolutely love this. And I pulled some quick quotes from the Guardian, an article from the Guardian in 2017, and here's a few quotes. So this was from Jamie Stewart of the Los Angeles-based band Zizou. If you hum the first notes of the opening theme, you're immediately transported into another world. Apart from the timpani in 2001: A Space Odyssey, almost nothing else is as evocative. Here's another great quote. You could put that opening theme to a really bland piece of footage, and that footage is suddenly going to feel more meaningful. You could listen to it a million times, and it would never get irritating to lose any emotion. How many times can you watch the show from start to finish? Music lasts longer. And that was Rachel Zafira. And I just, some other quick stuff about him when he was writing the show, writing this song. Basically, he says, 3 opening notes is all it took. That little motif just had that magic, and we lucked on that sound. I was getting letters from all kinds of musicians and top guys in the business asking, what is that? We never really disclosed it. There's no synth that has that sound. It's much too low to be an electric guitar, and it's not a bass. So what is it? The greatest musicians in the world couldn't figure it out. Later on, we exposed that it was a Dwayne Eddy special sample combination of a sound and a synthesizer played on an octave lower than what it really was. Then we doubled it with another kind of very low guitar sound. We kept that quiet because we didn't want anyone else to use it. And that's what Angelo Baldamenti had said about the title back in 2017 in an article published in Vulture magazine. So, because I always wondered that too, like, man, how do you get that sound? Like, it's just great. It's so haunting. So anyway, that is my number 2, the theme song from Twin Peaks, written by Angelo Baldamenti. It's the best. It's the best.
Well, so many good theme songs. The first few like notes are all it takes to get you going.
Yep.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it sucks you right in. And even like I was just saying about MASH, like, dun, 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 it's like, I'm in. You know?
I would not have guessed that was going to be on your list.
I didn't think you would, because I don't think I've ever talked about my Twin Peaks obsession before. So
never.
So now you know. Now you know, Amanda Sharp. I'm obsessed with Twin Peaks.
And Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm just a total a Star Wars, and then you'll see my number 1 pick coming up.
Oh gosh, I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped. So I have to say, my number 1 pick, I feel like would seem so obvious out there in the like universe.
Right.
So if you had to guess, Chris, could you guess what you think my number 1 pick would be?
I know some shows that you like, but I don't know if they're like your favorite shows. Like, I know you're a big American Horror Story fan.
Oh God, yes.
And I know you like I know you're a big Alias fan.
Yes.
I know those 2 shows for you.
Good.
And I know you like a lot of the classic shows, and you and I pretty much have a lot of the similar tastes when it comes to like the classics, like, you know, Happy Days.
Yeah.
Or Laverne and Shirley.
Oh
Or
my, that almost
Josie and the Pussycats. You know, a lot of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, which you just talked about with the Scooby-Doo, but you know, the Flintstones.
Yes.
You know, so many good ones. So I feel like it's wide open.
Okay.
I mean, even the Simpsons, you know.
Oh man, that one's
that was on my top. That was on my top 10. The Simpsons was on my top 10.
Let's just take a moment and say, holy smokes, can we believe how long The Simpsons has been around?
Such a great, good. Well, I haven't watched it in many years, in full disclosure, but I'll tell you, those seasons, the first like 10 seasons are complete fire. It's so good.
For like the Halloween episode was always a big deal.
Treehouse of Horror.
Yes, it was so great.
The best.
Moving on. Okay, so my number 1 pick, and I do not know that this. I knew instantly this was going to be my number 1, and I don't know if another show could come up or start that would bop it out of the way. So with that being said, Chris Baglio, my number 1 theme song is the Golden Girls theme song.
Oh yes, you know, I you're right in there. You know what? And that is yes, that is an amazing theme song. That's definitely it didn't make my top 3, but it was in my top 20 of greatest songs, like and shows that I like. I love the Golden Girls. Great show. That is great. Awesome. That's an awesome theme song. It's right up there with The Facts of Life. The Facts of Life.
So when I was doing the reels for James Scott's Happy Chris and Amanda Day video that I was posting, I was having a hard time doing like theme show songs because I was like, ooh, this could be on the list. And I didn't want to like take a song that was on your list or a song that was on my list, and I did want The Facts of Life. So that was fantastic. But yeah, the Golden Girls is just such an iconic show, and the older I get, the more I relate. So here we are, number 1.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Number 1.
That is very, very good. I like that. That's a great number 1. So before I divulge my number 1,
rest in peace, Betty White.
Yes. R.I.P. Betty White.
All right.
God bless you.
An
American treasure. I want to read some of our and by the way, if anybody else wants to chime in, please feel free to do it now. Just hit the chat, comment, whatever. We'll get it here. But I wanted to read some of our audience picks before I go into my number 1. Okay. So we had put out on social media over the weekend, hey, what were some of your picks? So here's what we got. From Mookie. comedian. So if you want to go to Mookie G Comedy, that's Mookie's tag on Instagram.
He so funny.
Great song pick here. The Jeffersons, Moving On Up.
Ooh,
I mean,
so good.
you
Moving
see
on
the
up.
opening. You see the
Oh, you can
opening.
see him doing his little.
Oh, it's so good. What a
how he
great pick.
moves. Oh, good.
What a
Good.
great pick. Yeah.
Fun story about Mr. Mookie. The first time I met Mookie, I was like, Mookie, I just want to say, like, when you're around, I want to say, oh, Mookie, you're so fun. You're so fun. You blow my mind. Hey, Mookie. I like couldn't help but do that. And of course I sang it to him.
Of
So
course.
he still showed up like in rooms that we were on in Clubhouse and still talked to me. So I didn't scare him too much by that.
Well, that's good. And so, maybe you could record that and send it to him. That's like his personal theme song from now on.
That's
Like
Mookie's
just
theme
that. It's just
song.
you singing basically that
Hey, Mookie, you're so
version of
fun.
Mickey, but Mookie.
So sorry to hog that airspace with that, but had to
No,
share.
it's good. It's great. It's a good share. All right. So we had Mr. James Scott from Across the Pond Sports Network checking in, and another class. I mean, these were all great. This whole list was fantastic. With the A Team.
Ooh.
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh.
dun, 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 dun,
So
dun.
good.
I mean, that
So good.
like even reading these names, like boom, I think of the opening. You think like
You can see it.
I see it like as if I just sat down and turned it on. It's fantastic. Phenomenal list. All right. So next up, we have Mr. John Killian, host of the XV Planis podcast, which I highly recommend checking out if you're into aliens and a cult. It is awesome. Another classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon, Hong Kong Phooey.
Oh.
Love it. Very good.
John's so cool.
Yes, that's a great cartoon. Really fun to watch. I used to watch that one growing up all the time. Okay, so another great friend and support of the show, Tony Forkboy Donato. And he gave me two picks. One is his one pick is the theme song from the show Firefly, which I am a huge fan of. Only was one season and one film.
Yep.
He and I are big Firefly fanatics. The song's called Serenity. So that's the theme song from Firefly. And his second pick was the Buffy the Vampire Slayer theme song by Nerf Herder. So that was his two picks. Then we had Nick Cosgrove checking in with another great theme song, man. And I was just rewatching these two last year when they dropped them on Netflix, which is the theme song to Cheers.
I thought that might be your number one pick.
It is such a good song, and it's in my top 10. It's in my top 10. So that would have made my honorable mention list was Cheers. Oh, yeah. Every time. Oh, I can you see the opening.
You can just like, wouldn't you like? Like,
would you like?
So good.
Yeah, so good. And don't you want to go where everybody knows your name? Dun, dun, dun. So everybody tuned in to hear us sing these theme songs. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Listen, I didn't rap my Fresh Prince one.
Right.
I
that was good. That was good. You held back. You held back. All right. So then last one I got here was from Dave Mattingly. He checked in with the Underdog theme song.
Ooh, classic.
Yep, absolute classic. So those were the ones that we got submitted from listeners of the show. Obviously, hey, if you're listening to this and you're watching this and, it's afterwards, send us your picks anyway. We'll read them on future episodes for sure. You can send us an email or DM us on social. If you send us an email to the Chris and Amanda Show at gmail.com or DM us over at TikTok or Instagram at the same handle, the Chris and Amanda Show. All right. So,
woo!
My number one song, Amanda Sharp.
Yes, Chris.
It's not Cheers.
I really thought that might be on there.
That was a good pick of yours, though.
I really did.
It was a very good pick. And this was a little tough for me because these were two shows that. So I will tell you what my original number one was, but then it got bumped. Okay, got bumped. I bumped it. So now it's an honorable mention.
Yesterday's news.
It's an honorable mention. But my number one was originally the X-Files theme song.
Okay.
And I used to love. And the reason why is because my wife and I, we like for for the entire time that we were dating and then married, that was like our appointment television, like Friday night's X-Files. That was it. So that was just
Love it.
appointment TV for the both of us, like throughout our entire relationship.
Love that.
So not my number one no anymore. So, and that was really more nostalgic than the fact that but it is iconic. That do,
Sure,
do, do,
absolutely.
do. So, but my number one song for reals
Yeah.
is one of the ones that was just mentioned from our guests, from our listeners, and that is the Buffy the Vampire theme song by Nerf Herder. And
I
people
need
who
to know
know
all
me,
about
yeah,
this.
people who know me know that I, especially during that time, was obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love that show so much. I still feel sad that it's gone. I'm upset they still haven't brought it back or rebooted it in a way or continued the story. I was kept reading the comics afterwards, which are great because it was a continuation of the story. I love it. I love Nerf Herder's version of it. It's great. I mean, I listen. It's on a playlist that just comes on, and you can't help the openings. It's iconic with the opening. The show's phenomenal. It's so campy and so over the top. And I know, Joss Whedon's canceled now and probably rightfully so, but like that show is amazing. The cast is amazing. I love everything about it except for the one season where things were weird and there was a musical episode which wasn't very good. But other than that, great show. And this theme song is awesome. I mean, it's phenomenal. So really quick,
Buffy,
I'll give some quick notes about this song because I thought I actually know some of these things. So the theme itself was originally it was actually there was the original version of this was hired by some famous composer to come up with a theme song, and the producers didn't like it, so they were kind of on a low budget and asked local bands to come up with theme song ideas. Basically the reason how they came up with it is Allison Hannigan, who plays Willow on the show, gave a CD of the band's music to Josh Whedon, who said, "Oh wow, this is awesome." So he asked them to record a second version of the theme song in their style, and that's how then starting on season 3, if you watch the first 2 seasons, the version of the theme song is a little bit more like organ and kind of classic, like like Universal, like just 1930s horror. But Nerf Herder took it and redid it in Nerf Herder style, and from season 3 on, that was the theme song. That version was the theme song for the show, and obviously stuck because it is awesome. So that's how Nerf Herder came to do the theme song for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, one of my favorite shows of all time.
Did you like the movie?
That is my number one. So the movie is way different from the show, but yet very similar.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy the film. It's very campy and fun, but nowhere near as much as I love the TV show.
Absolutely. I don't
But
think
it is fun.
Like TV shows are easier to follow and like fall in love with, and it's extremely loyal to. Movies can be fantastic, but the feeling about them is a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it was just one of these things that was like, obviously that movie came before the show.
Right.
And the show is very packed with the mythology and things can play out. And it's a very big, that's actually one of the first shows where like this universe was sort of created around like the mythos of like, these characters and that world building and all that. And the movie was like, just, was the film, it was a script, it was self-contained, it's this and that. And like, you really needed it. Definitely the concept works better as a full show as opposed to a film. A film coming out maybe in between or with the movie, with the show, maybe would have been a better move. But you know what? It opened the door to make the show. So
it was like pre-Supernatural type show.
Yes. Yeah, it was one of WB's, like CW's like flagship shows. I mean, that was the thing that kind of launched even that network. Like
absolutely.
Because a lot of shows on there, other than I think like Dawson's Creek, it was like basically Buffy and Dawson's Creek were like their 2 biggest shows.
I can't believe I used to watch that.
You're a Dawson's Creek girl, aren't you?
I really was. And then I just stopped. When Pacey had the affair with the teacher, I was like, done.
I'm out. It's over.
I'm out. This is not realistic.
I can't take it anymore.
I can't take it anymore. I have my limitations.
Yeah. So that was my number one. What were some of your honorable mentions before we wrap it up?
So I had Cheers on there because I do feel like that's just such an
Great one.
iconic song. Saved by the Bell. Because
Ah,
some
yeah.
people like Saved by the
Awesome.
Bell.
Yep.
Um, A Different World. I don't know if you ever really watched
Oh, yes,
that, but
Different World.
I
Great show.
love A Different World. We just watched that in my family, like,
That was a
religiously.
great
It
show.
was such like, Dwayne, Dwayne. Like, I loved Whitney and Dwayne. So
Yep.
happy they ended up married. Just love them. I really like that 70s show theme song.
That one, that's Cheap Trick. That is a Cheap
Is
Trick
it?
song. Yep. Hanging
Interesting.
out. Yeah, that's a
So
Cheap
good.
Trick wrote that song for the show. And
Really
then
good.
they actually then recorded a full version of it, which you can hear, which that's on my list. That's on my honorable mention list.
Nice.
Yes.
And then Marcus claimed that I'm kitty, but whatever. And then and then my last one is Charles in Charge. I don't know if you remember that
Of
show.
course, Charles
Charles
in
in
charge
Charge.
of our life.
We are so obnoxious. It's so great.
So great. So
What
I'll
about
go
you?
through. So we on our honorable mentions, we definitely share a few. So I'll go through the ones that like you didn't say. Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, just the good
Good
old
old
boys.
boy,
Oh, so
never meaning
good.
so oh, it's so good.
Yes.
So Dukes of Hazzard. I did mention before Josie and the Pussycats,
Mhm.
and I even like past episodes we talked about the film and
Yes.
that. And I love Josie and the Pussycats. Uh, What's Happening? If you remember that show, boom,
Yes.
boom, boom, oh, I
Gosh, so
see that.
good.
Great show, love that show. And one of the other ones I did mention before, which is Happy Days.
So good.
Happy Days in The Simpsons. You know, some of the but
Yeah.
Happy Days is man, love Happy Days. What a great
That was,
you know,
ugh,
and I know one of the other ones that was on, I actually forgot to put on my list. And I can't believe I forgot to do it, but as we were going, I remembered, and I'm like, man, I can't believe it. It's The Big Bang Theory. That's a great
mm,
theme song. It just I forgot
yeah.
to put it on my list entirely. And I know everybody's like, how could you forget that one? But that's actually that's a really good theme song. Bare Naked Ladies did that one. And
I
it's so good.
I think theme songs can absolutely make or break a TV show's success.
Agreed. I agree. I mean, it sucks you in. It's like lets you know. And I think at some points, like some shows need the theme song
Mhm.
and others don't. You just need to launch into them. Like I don't need
Yeah,
the theme song. I just need the show to start.
right.
You know, like Sopranos is a great use of a theme song on a serious
Ooh,
show.
yes, that's so
Uh,
good. I
Great.
still don't know any of the words because it's kinda, like, mumbled.
Yeah.
Something about a buying a gun, but the rest of it, I'm like, "I don't know."
But that's a really good theme. That's a
That's
really good theme
good.
song. That's a great opening to a show. Um, that it was in my top 20.
That's a good one. I didn't watch any of it until probably the last 6 months, and then
Yeah.
Marcus watched it from start to finish, and so I got accustomed to it. So the Super Bowl commercial that referenced it, I understood.
Yep. There you go. You understood it. You got it.
Small wins, small wins.
Small wins. Amanda Sharp picking up on popular culture.
Who thought that day would come? What a fun show, Chris.
Yes, what a fun show. And we want to thank everybody who was watching along with us live today. Thanks to everybody who submitted over the weekend with your picks. We appreciate each and every one of you. And of course, thank you to Mr. James Scott and Across the Pond podcast for giving us a little shout out on social and welcoming everybody to a happy Chris and Amanda Day.
It's so
We
fun.
love
And
it.
if anyone's interested in doing that, shoot us a message. All we need is a video just wishing our listeners a happy Chris and Amanda Day. Say who you are, and we'd be happy to throw you out there into the interwebs.
That is correct. Absolutely. 100%. So with that, once again, thank you everybody for watching and listening to the show. Please hit that subscribe or follow or like button if wherever you're consuming the show, wherever you're watching it. We really appreciate it. Share it with people you know, because that's how the podcast grows. And if you'd like to show your support for the show, you can also head over to buymeacoffee.com/TCAS. Use the link in the video description or the show notes below to access that, and you can pick from any level. And you can also have the opportunity to commission your very own show of the Chris and Amanda Show and pick all the songs for us to review. And if you've listened to the previous episodes, especially the last one that we did, you'll know that we will review just about anything. So
That took me places I didn't expect to go, but I did it
yes,
because it was commissioned and we commit
yes,
to that.
and we had fun. We had a
We
really good
did.
time with it.
It was
Yes,
good. Thanks again, Dan.
yes, you definitely stretched Amanda's limits, but it was very fun.
Very much so.
So
Very.
if you'd like that opportunity, feel free to do that. Other than that, thank you all again for watching and listening to the show. We will see you next Monday here live for another episode of the Chris and Amanda Show. See you guys next time. Thanks.
Hi, everyone.